Hello everyone, I am Susanna Raj. I am an independent cognitive science and AI ethics researcher. My background is in psychology and I worked in human computer interactions until 2019. And now I am working as an AI ethics researcher and trying to build ethics and diversity in the tech ecosystem with an organization called Data Ethics for All, and I'm a volunteer, brand and communications program mentor. I'm also a volunteer for the editorial team at Women in AI Ethics. I'm currently a founder of my own company called AI for Nomads, which is harnessing the power of AI to eradicate poverty and digital illiteracy around the globe, aligned with United Nations Sustainable Goals for 2030. As someone who loves to wear many hats, I am here with Manpreet Budhraja, who also likes to wear many hats. Actually, she wears more than me. So I will just have to look at how many hats she's wearing. She is a data engineer, an NLP practitioner, a community builder, a speaker, a mentor, and founder of AIM Learning, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So welcome, Manpreet.
Thank you for inviting me to this session. It means a lot to me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started on this journey, because yours is an interesting story.
Um, myself, Manpreet, and I did my studies in integrated MSc Applied Maths. So basically, in India, it's not treated as a good subject of study, and then people would be like, "We can't give you jobs. You're not from technical." So I had faced lots of rejections, and then I had that revenge in me. Okay, no, I'll do projects and I'll get job, and now I'm finally working as a data engineer at PACT. um, it's such a good learning at the early start of my career. I got to work as a data engineer, which we never heard of when we are in college. We usually hear things like data scientist, machine learning engineer, research scientist, but now this field is even emerging more. So yeah, I'm enjoying my job, and besides that, I love to mentor and hold sessions for our YouTube channel, which we soon are trying to build into a very good community for people. So let's see what happens to that, and that's me.
So how did you, how did you actually pick this career? How did you pick, data science as your path? Like I know your background is in applied mathematics, right?
Yeah.
So how did you come into
So
AI?
Actually, I started off first with learning Java in my first year. Then I did HTML, CSS, and then when I went for one of my internship, they told me about Tableau and Python and how do they do visualization, and that's where I actually started to connect and like it, and that's how I started doing into machine learning. It's actually, I'm lucky that whenever I went for internship, I got projects in ML, NLP, and mostly in NLP based on my previous projects. But it's more important, I realized when I was doing my thesis, that my mathematical concepts are used, like partial differentiation, linear algebra,
Mm-hmm.
stats, is also useful. And I think I felt that day that I'm so lucky that I've already read all of these as my curriculum at college, and I have to just apply it over here. So that's
Oh,
when I actually realized ki I'm so lucky that I'm in this field.
oh, okay. So what's the most interesting thing that you have learned about NLP?
NLP as its field is very vast, but there's a lot of work done on languages that have major data, like conversing in English. So there's a lot of data on this, but then there's very less data on low resource languages, and research is being done on that. Apart from that, NLP just not is limited to this. There's a lot of question answering systems, chatbots helping the age old people, converting text to speech, converting sign languages to text so that a person who doesn't understand can understand. And I feel so good seeing so much of applications. Recently I read that how even people are studying that public government policies and famous personality tweets about certain companies changing about the stock markets and directly affecting the stock market. So quite interesting things happening out there.
Yes. But in terms of, ethics, do you have anything to add to that? Like, is that a concern of yours and the direction that
uh,
technology is going now?
I feel that I am not much read into ethics and I don't know what actually you called as ethics. But yesterday I was watching TV and this one movie came out on Hotstar, I guess it's called OK Computer, where a
Hmm.
self-driving car does a murder, and then people find out how does that happens, and it's based on AI ethics, and it's an Indian movie. I don't know how it would be, but when I read the title, I was like, no, no, I'll watch it because something related to what I do. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So I know you do a lot of mentoring for the whole data science community, and you also have tried you in a very grand way to build up the community. So can you tell us a little bit about that, about your journey and how that came about?
Yeah. So during college, I was part of many communities like GDG and Web Dev Labs. So since college, it was this community atmosphere we had, and I feel blessed enough for that because that gave me a platform to build something. But I would say that in lockdown, one of my friends who is the main person, I guess, behind this of initiating it, is in Bangalore. He said that we should take up some chapters for Gujarat and start doing it. And when we took up this chapter and we started to build, I think it helped us to network. And now that I think people trust us with the content that we provide. We thought of making it now a professionals community, so we are building this professionals community of data scientists and professionals out there in different fields so that we can connect them all together all over the world. Now that we have network, we can help others to network and use the best out of it, because most of the communities have students as well. And what our thought process is to help the professionals also, because they also want to grow into their career and they see something themselves. So this is the idea behind AIM Learning. That's what we are taking it up, and with support of everyone listening this, I think we can make it.
So it's a community of professionals trying to come and help other professionals.
Yeah.
So and our topic today is career pivot, right? People who are trying to change from one career to another.
Yeah.
What kind of help do you offer for that community?
um Initially, it's just the start. Like on 1st of April, we launched our logo, official logo, and now that we are sending invites to people, we want it to be less but of good quality.
Hmm.
We're not aiming that, having more people, but at least people out there, who there are a lot of communities, but sometimes communication gets dead. But someday, if I'm ex person who wants to grow into field of data scientist and I want to be like a senior data scientist, so a professional network would only help me to realize, okay, where does my skill stands, how am I there. So in that way, when we our community grows on Slack, they can have interactions, and they can leverage the best out of it from what we are providing, and they can also add people like the professionals, so that it just not helps them but other people. Because suppose you have a startup today and you want to launch a product, a professional will give you the best advice and feedbacks rather than a student, because they know how things are being used in real world rather than a student. So that's what we think of doing out of it.
That is awesome. And I know you are very self-driven and you have really built everything on your own and even landed your job and everything you have done on your own. So that is like an incredible positive message to everyone who is watching this now, who might be struggling to move from one thing to another. So can you tell us what is the one thing that you're so proud of that you accomplished on your own versus accomplishing something as part of a team?
Something of my own is that finally, my parents think that they could buy anything without seeing the price tags, and I bought them gifts for this anniversary, and they're so happy. I think that's one satisfaction you get when you see your parents, you buying them something rather than they buying their own. So, and as a part of team, I think I have the best team at Pact to work with professionally because they're so supportive. They know that I'm so interested in NLP, and so whenever any project related to NLP or something comes up, they give me the lead to take that project and take full decisions of it. And I think that has helped me also to see things as a person, because generally when we are in college we have this myth that everything is about building models using high tech models and Albert transformers or something. But when your company is not so data centric, you don't have so much of data. So by using simple pandas techniques or regular expressions, your things get done. So I think professionally it has helped me to see things as a wider person and audience and stuff. And I had also the community on LinkedIn out there is so supportive, and every time you reach out to anybody is there to help you. So yeah, that's it.
So what is you are a younger woman, but what is your advice to women who are younger than you, who are like trying to enter into the world of technology?
If you see me as an Indian person, I know there are people who want to grow, but due to family restrictions, or sometimes, when they get married off easily, when after just their studies. So I would say that at least my mother taught me in this, irrespective of you getting married or being anything, try to be financially independent, because it's very important for you. You never know that something XYZ happens in your family. You could at least run and support, and you being financially independent can be your earning could be saved fully, and your partner's earning could be just used to spend, and that way you can enjoy a great life. I think this then again, people misunderstand the financial independence thing, and they're like, feminism and all. But I meant in a way that you could support yourself, your needs, and you need not be dependent on XYZ person to, get what you like. So be financially independent is something I would say to anyone out there. That's what my mother taught me.
Yes, definitely. Always be financially independent. That is the most important thing. So, another question that I always like to ask before we go into your data science myths: how would you know that you have done your best?
I think it's never you know you did your best, but it's the audience that tells you that you did something good. So I would say just keep doing something you think is best is never liked by the audience, and something you just put it off. People might like it. So it's very unpredictable to say what is best.
So now let's go into your area of expertise because Manpreet, as you may all know, is like she is an expert on data science and NLP and data science myths. She has spoken on this topic many times. So I would like her to teach us about three or four data science myths, common myths, and also dispel those myths for us.
Yeah, like the first one I told you, we never at college heard of things like data engineering, and have always a myth like everything is everything is coding high tech models and training and testing, but no, it's not. The first most thing is you have a project, and does that project actually help the real world people or not? If it helps, are you able to get the proper data or not? And then if you are getting proper data, are you able to clean it or not? And after that you would have this 2000 uh, k of rows or data, and you're like, oh, then we have to again get data. So I guess the main thing we don't realize as students is that this lot of things that goes in a data science project, not just coding and stuff. Next thing I think is people don't think that maths is so important, but I think when you're doing data analyst or any other thing, maths is needed somewhere or the else. So always keep mathematics as a very important thing in your data science journey, irrespective of what you are doing, because when you're doing analysis you need to know mean, median, mode, and standard deviation to calculate and make good graphs. And um, I think what other people also think is that it's a very easygoing field, but though it's not easygoing, you have to be updated every day. You have to learn every day, and if you're a person with having that you are experimental and you have that patience to do work in, especially in data science, um, then you have chosen the right field. If you don't have patience, I think it would get very difficult for you. And also people don't realize that small concepts and basics is also very important, because at work I think it's very rare that I've used in things like decision trees and stuff. I've mainly used pandas and regular expressions that we generally ignore when we are into growing something.
Mhm.
So it's very important to learn the basics as well when you are growing up, and focus on basics, because you never know what basics would come to your use. And people generally get influenced by this, that Google built this, Google trained this. Yeah, they had this computation power so that they could do. And there are people who use that same data set and prove that that's not so good for your on real world things, or with less computation power. And there are fields developing, even like things called sustain NLP, green NLP, where people are seeing how the computation power is affecting the environment by training such high data sets. So there's lot of things, just not chatbots and self-driving cars, but lot of applications that people are working on in the field of data science. And secondly, don't think that if you're not from computer science or you're not into maths, you can't learn. You can. We have this great example, Susanna. She's such a wonderful woman and she's doing amazing job. So if you have that will, patience to learn anything, you can learn. That's it.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. So, you have dispelled some of the data science myths, and it's I think it's actually one of the common things that we actually ignore. There was a news article recently about a young girl who used the basics of biology to find out how to she I think she did something about sutures, where you can detect infection from a suture, that the suture actually turns a different color based on the pH value of the skin. And this is something she learned in high school, and she found out about this new technology that will help detect infections. So it's always amazing that what you can do with basics knowledge, and that you should never ignore that. Thank you for saying that. And yes, you can come into this field from any other field if you are willing to work at it, and if you're willing to learn the basics, that's possible. So another thing, that question that I I am sure all of them have in their mind because I'm always confused by this. What is a data engineer versus a data scientist?
Um, so basically, a data engineering job is to get data, what data scientists generally need, and get it automated. And we use different ETL tools nowadays that you have, get the proper data for data analysts to visualize how they need it. So that's how we automate the data and store it in database and see our database. But data science just one addition, a more addition task to it, that they build models on it, and they see how the outcome is, and they build full modeling part. And visualizing part is somewhat addition to a data engineer task. But generally, when I saw job roles now of a data scientist, out of 10, 6 are that of a data engineer desk, and then there are 4 things that are additional to it. So irrespective, in some companies it happens that you don't have a proper data engineer, some, so everything is done by a data scientist. But that's also comes to what we humans have made the job roles as.
Yes.
But depending from company to company, the role changes, the work also changes somewhat, and a title also changes to what you are doing. Some might take data engineer as a machine learning engineer and do stuff on the same thing. So I think it mainly depends what you are doing at job and what you're learning out of it, because the role prediction is very tough in nowadays. It's so tricky to understand when you're applying for another job sometimes what is actually happening. Yeah.
So another question, that's a great answer because yeah, it all depends on us humans. We put out the job description and the title doesn't matter actually. It's what you do, and sometimes you inside the company you may have one title, but you'll be doing something else there. That is
Yeah,
totally
I
yeah.
learned this from that people in US and different countries also look at what you not build, but what you build has helped the company to generate either cost or save cost. So they're like, what business value did you bring by building this product? How did it help actually? They generally don't, some initially they don't look what you build or what techniques you use. They look how you could help the company to generate or save revenues, because that's what a HR person would look up to. Okay, this person is helping and generating revenues, it's a good asset. I realized this by networking and talking to people. It's like, oh, that's interesting, I never thought that.
So you learned a lot by networking and talking, and you are a natural at public speaking and also writing blogs and things like that. So I feel like that's
No,
an
I think this comes with your childhood. Okay, so being in school, I used to be at anchor at various assemblies that happens in morning and take part in activities. I think now when I see back, I think it's very important what activities you inculcate as a child help you to grow, because I know some of my friends are so intelligent and topper 98%, but they have that fear of speaking because they are so much into studies. And then I think whoever listening is, it's, you should keep your work one thing, but your passion, your hobbies also important to keep you up alive and energized to work professionally. That we think we don't realize it, but it's so important.
Yeah, that is one thing that's unique about you, Manpreet, because I see I interact with a lot of engineers and data scientists, and they have trouble writing, they have trouble speaking publicly, yeah, because that was never cultivated as a child. I mean, they never bothered to participate in activities that are so externally focused. So you do that naturally. That's because that's how you were brought up. But what do
Yeah,
you
I
what do
was
you
always scolded that. you study at least. Why to take part so much in curricular activities? Because as a parent they would have that fear, but I was like, okay, I'll pass. I used to pass with good. I was in top 10 at that time. They were happy. So they happy, we happy, and everything going good. I would say that at college also I failed in one subject. My parents got scared. Okay, now who will get you a job? So I told them and promised them after my college I'll get job. Don't worry about my grades and anything. And that's what I proved them. And they didn't tell me anything. I gave them a
Mhm.
promise. And I think it's very important for students as well who think that, oh my god, they need to get, yeah, you need to get CGPS above 7.5, you should. But then have projects and other things, because being in COVID, things have anyways got very tougher for job sectors, and you have competition with two years of people who are now graduating, because 2019 are also suffering, 2020 graduates are also suffering, and now you will also suffer. So better have some networking on LinkedIn or projects so that you can help out of it.
So you, that's an amazing, amazing advice. It's such, you are so wise beyond your years. So you just amaze me that you have so much awareness and knowledge, and that how you actually network. I am always amazed by that. You are just, she's talking to this leader, to that leader, to that. No, I'm like, how does she do it?
So it's also about you message, okay, what else will happen? They'll ignore you, not reply you today, but then you keep working. You don't know that down the line, 2 years down the line, they'll only come and message that we want you to host us. You're doing good. That's what has actually happened. Initially, when I was running, I did not get. Now there are few people who came back and say, no, we want to be a part of your show or your meetings or
Mm.
how we can collaborate. So you keep working. Rejections do happen. That make you help you climb more stronger. So keep learning, keep doing. What else will happen? You're not losing anything. They're not losing anything. So keep trying.
Yes, that is true. So for people who are like really scared to take the first step to do something like how you are doing, how you are building this global network, and how you are doing public speaking and all of those things that you do, the blog writing, everything. So somebody who has never done that, who didn't have this lucky childhood like you, or the lucky parents that you were born with. So what are the tips that you would give to them?
That's what I said. Try. What will happen? You'll fail. I failed at one of my LinkedIn posts initially. I did so many grammatical errors. But now that I learned, I proofread at least 10 times before I post. Okay, yes, everything okay. I even have a proofread with my brother. Okay, check is everything okay, right? So it's like, yeah, now I post it. Initially, I don't know how do you post it. And I used to get affected by the like thing, but now I don't, because I think over time you grow out of it. When you start your journey, you're like, oh, they're getting so many likes, they're getting so much of traction, why I'm not getting. But when you start writing, people noticing you
Hmm.
automatically get what you deserve, I think, but you have to keep trying for it. Nothing comes easy on plate, and if it comes easy, you don't enjoy that success.
Hmm.
So
That's
it's
true.
important to fail to get the taste of success.
So what was the biggest failure that you remember that like still, haunts you at night? If there are
Um,
anything like that.
I still think that I'm not so good at managing my time, and I fail to uh, bring into importance my health, mental and physical. I am not still able to, prioritize my health, and I think that health is very important. So that's one failure I think I'm still failing at. Every day I try, okay, today I'll work out, today I'll do this, but then being lazy, don't get up. Don't know being lazy or what, but it's still it it will take me time to, come into routine and do things, because it's very new for me, this professional world, still very new and still very experimenting. So I know it will happen, but yeah. But I would say always prioritize your mental and physical health. It's very important.
Yes, definitely get your 8 hours of sleep and make
Yeah.
sure you eat healthy and all of that. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So, how do you think COVID-19 has changed the world of technology? Because I know you are a child of COVID-19 almost.
Yeah.
You grew up in that, but what are your insights on that?
I think for the tech world, I knew people because of COVID-19. I was very active during this period of lockdown. I think if the person could leverage it to the best, any opportunity thrown to him, it turns out a golden coin for him. But if not, then it would was the worst time for them. Some I really feel bad when I read that some people lost their dear ones.
Yes,
I know personally in my relative that they were in Germany and their mother died here and everything was locked down and they could not come even to see that face. And I know how it hurts. Um, s- but then life moves on, because treat life as a chapter of your book. One ends, then you move to second. But if you're stuck at the one chapter, you can't complete the whole book. So you have to keep going, keep trying, and keep reading. Try new books. Experiment. It's important.
it is definitely important to keep on, trying new things because some will work and some will fail. So,
Yeah. Yeah, being a researcher, you might so much relate that research that fails is also a very great research.
yes, yes, actually it is. That's where you learn the most when something you think will be the right hypothesis and then it completely falls apart. Then you learn something new that you never expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is something that you are working on that is not part of school, that is not part of your work, that is not part of your aim learning, but something that
Um, I'm trying to that I realize now that how important it is to have your GitHub projects. While you're working as an intern, you're not allowed to put their projects. So I'm working to learn GitHub properly. How do you write good readmes? So that's what I'm currently working. I think it's very important. GitHub nowadays. Even I see people see how you answer on Stack Overflow. Your Stack Overflow profile is also counted very important, and some if you have, it's very good. People have amazing Stack Overflow profile as well. Because I think it's always hype to be a Kaggle master, grandmaster. It's good,
uh
but I think people don't talk about these all things as well. It's also important. Stack and this all things.
so GitHub,
Amazing. I
Stack.
learned this while talking. Yeah, I learned all this while talking to people. Like Susanna told me, I need something to see also everything at one page. So I'm learning everything to keep at one page. So you can see who I am, what I do, and post.
Yes, because it's so difficult to find information on you. It's all over the place, right? So it's good to have it everything in one
Yeah,
place. And GitHub, Stack
yeah, I'm
Overflow is
working on that.
good. I'm glad to know that. So
Yeah.
it's really awesome whatever you are doing and how you are encouraging the community, especially people who are trying to enter into this field, and you are there to guide them. And your posts are
Thank
always very
you.
encouraging.
I think you have always motivated me and helped me so much. So a big thanks to you as well.
Oh, that's very kind of you. So, this is one final question. So, do you think you have the power to change the world? If yes, how? If not, why?
No, I can't change people. I can't change their mindset. I can just set up an example then it's up to them. Take a yes road or a no road. So I don't know that. But yeah, I can set up things that I feel bad about and try to change from my end. But then it's up to the world. They have that dish. They want to taste, they can. They don't want to, then it's up to them. I don't know yet. I'm just so young to say that, I feel.
But you are changing the world, right? So that is your one superpower and you are
I
using.
think you should do your work without expectations. Without
Mhm.
expectation of getting like appreciation, anything. Keep doing what you like. Down the line, if people like it, they will. If they're not, they'll give you good feedback. And some who get jealous will criticize you to no end. So better do it. That's what I think is should be the tagline for this episode is like, do it, try it.
Do
If
it,
you
try
if
it.
yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I
That
don't
is
know.
what career pivot also means, right? You have a desire to go in another direction. You should just go. You should just try it. You should not be afraid of anything. At the most, you will fail, but that's okay too, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. So thank you, Manpreet. It's been, I think you are so encouraging, and I hope everyone who watched this feels encouraged by you
Yeah.
and starts following your work. And,
Yeah.
I think they would be lucky if they could get mentorship from you.
Oh, please no. I'm it's like two-way learning. So when they ask question and I don't know, so I also go and search. Okay, so it's a two-ways learning. I'm very selfish. It helps me to learn, so I mentor. So you need to be selfish about your learnings as well. Always helping is good, but what you're getting out of it is you're also learning. So be selfish and learn in learning from everyone out there.
Mm. Manpreet has given you guys lots of tips and cool advices. I think everything can be a quote. We should take the transcript and make it into a quote card.
Then I'll also try to post out of it. Because sometimes I don't get anything what to post. Then it's like, oh, I told this, I should have posted this.
Yes, yeah, this
Okay, I'll
recording.
take it next time.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Manpreet, for coming at such a short notice and being part of Career Pivot Day at
Thank you
IoT.
so much for inviting me, and thanks to Sudha as well for starting this IoT day, and thanks to you for so amazing job.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, bye.
Bye.